Gene Sperling is senior advisor to President Biden, and we appreciate him being with us. Gene, good to have you back on the program. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, there's discussion over the weekend, Janet Yellen sort of saying, well, if you have 2 quarters of contracting GDP growth, not necessarily a recession. I covered the economy for many years. I was told by everybody I spoke to that 2 negative quarters, 2 contracting quarters, means that the economy is in a recession. Do you believe that? Is that what you ascribe to?
That is not the actual definition of a recession. It is a significant contractionary period over a few months where those who make that determination look at a lot of different factors, particularly the jobs market. So, Martha, I'd like to give 3 points of evidence as to why I think the evidence is strong we're not in a recessionary period, and that, in fact, in the face of a very rough global economy, the U.S. economy is showing special resistance. First, the job market. In the 40 years since 1982, there's never been even a 3-month period when we're in recession where we're creating over 75 or 76,000 jobs. These last 3 months, we created 375,000 jobs a month. We've created 2.7 million in the first 6 months. There has never been a recessionary period that's seen even a fraction of that level of job growth. Second, when you look at the first quarter and you look at what I think you and most of your viewers would care most about, which is kind of private sector growth, that measure of private demand was actually up 3%, not just a little, but 3%. That is very solid. And third, you just had earning reports from J.P. Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Citigroup that survey all of their customers. And you had the CEO of Citigroup saying no sign of recession. You had J.P. Morgan saying that, in fact, they're seeing consumers spending 10% more than last year, 30% more than during the pandemic. None of that is consistent with a recessionary period.
We all hope that what the Fed has done is going to lead us out of this, and that if there is a recession, it will be very short and shallow. We can go back and forth on the definition of a recession. So I think the expectation is for a 0.5% growth in the quarter. So if that number is negative, just so I know how you're going to see it. So if it is negative, are you going to argue that you're going to still argue that we're not in a recession, even if we get another quarter of negative growth? Is that what we can expect based on the things that you just all laid out for us?
Yes, I would think that I agree, obviously, with Secretary Yellen that I don't think there's any view that would interpret this second quarter or these 6 months as being recessionary with that level of job growth, with private demand being what it is,
well, you
with
can see why people,
are
a little bit wary
and
because
spending going up.
We were all told that the inflation was going to be transitory by these same individuals, by all of you. So that does make people wary to listen again. Well, and you've got 64% of the American public who already thinks they're in a recession based on their own personal experience when they see how difficult it is for them to, buy the things that they need to buy. You've got a 68 disapproval number for the president on the economy. So you can tell us that, you feel like everything's going to be fine because job growth is good. And I would only point out on that front that, we also have had a once-in-a-century pandemic. So when you completely shut down the U.S. economy, you would expect you're going to add a lot of jobs as you're coming out of it, correct?
Well, I think the reality is that when you have a once-in-a-generation pandemic and an unthinkable war that roils the global economy, it is hard to imagine that the U.S. economy would escape all of that. But, Martha, I gave you very solid facts about why we are not, why this economy is showing resilience, why you're having strong job markets. There's no doubt or spin to the idea that we've created 1 million jobs in the last 3 months, and that there's no spin to what I said about the reporting from J.P. Morgan or Morgan Stanley or Citigroup. Those are all reflecting strength. What I do think is right is that our administration has been very close to the overwhelming consensus of global private forecasters. And there were things that were unforeseen that changed that forecast, and there could be things that are unforeseen now. So I think people should feel that we are being straight with the evidence and the information.
Like I said, I think everybody hopes that you're right.
Predicting the economy can be like predicting the weather,
but that's
or who's going to win the Super Bowl.
You know, that's why you get elected, and that's why people rely on your years of experience. They don't want to be told that something's transitory and then it turns out not to be, and you see how people feel when you've got 64% saying, I'm already in a recession as far as I'm concerned, in their own personal experience. So I hope you're right this time. I really do. I hope you're right.
I think you and your viewers would like to know that we're actually consistent with where private sector economists, private sector forecasters were. We were in May and June of last year, and then Omicron happened, Delta happened, the invasion of Ukraine happened, and that changed things, and that can change the forecast.
Well, now, a lot of people think that what changed the forecast was that we had trillions of dollars thrown into the economy based on recovery from COVID. And I think, we can't answer that. I mean, that people like Larry Summers have said, it was way too much stimulus. Stephen Ratner, way too much stimulus. That's why we're where we are with inflation. So we'll see in the end, in history's eye, who's actually right. So
here's what we know right now. We know that in the OECD, which covers 38 countries, the average inflation rate is 9.6%, and the core inflation rate is actually higher than the U.S., that it's 9.4% in the U.K., that it's 8.6%
I hear you.
in the
You've
Euro
made this point
generally.
before, Gene,
I think the evidence is
it would be nice if it made
as
us
you
feel
said,
better that ours wasn't quite as bad as some other people.
But aftershocks of a historic global expansion and an unthinkable roiling of energy markets due to the inflation. And we are trying to do everything we can to lower prices and lower costs for Americans,
and we hope that you succeed 100%.
So that we get less of that hit from this global phenomenon.
I've got to ask you really quickly here. The most read piece in the Washington Post, Quit, Joe, Quit. Biden could save the midterms with a one-term pledge. It's one of the most popular pieces on the internet today. Quick response to that. Should he announce now that he will not run for re-election?
Oh, I'm not getting into all that talk. And this president is got his head down and is focused every day on what he can do to keep this continuation of gas prices going down near 70 cents, what he can do to pass this historic chip bill, what he can do to lower prescription drug costs,
think he should
what he can do to extend the Affordable Care Act for $15 million. That's what he's doing. He's not doing the politics of all these projections. He's focused, right like you'd like him to be, on helping middle-class working families have more opportunity, keep this low 3.6% unemployment, have resilience in this economy, and work with Congress, we hope, to bring down costs for American families who are definitely feeling the pinch
I gotta go, Gene. But I asked you 3 times,
prices.
do you support him running again? It's a simple question. I just want to get your answer before I say goodbye.
Me personally, yes.
Yeah. Okay,
Me personally, yes, I absolutely support him running again.
Thank you very much. Good to have you. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.